Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of AmiSights. I'm Ami Kassar, your host, along with my co-host, Lynn Ozer, aka SBA Queen. Today, I could not be excited to have my friend and fellow EO president from One Chapter Next Door, Jeff Silbert, with us. In addition to his roles and responsibilities as EO, Jeff has many interests. He owns Hand and Stone massages and facial spas. One of those sounds kind of good right now. And so I'm interested to hear about a Moxie Salon and an early stage investor and different companies. Jeff, thank you for joining us and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm a long-time listener. I've listened to a bunch of your podcasts over the years, and they're great.
Awesome. Tell us what's going on in your life these days. What are you up to?
So it's funny. I started off more of I would work at a bunch of these venture-backed marketing and doing marketing and sales, and then recently I've been doing membership stuff for personal care. So that's what I've been doing for the last 10, 12 years is membership concepts.
All in the franchise space?
Generally the franchise space. I found what I really like and what I really know is relationship businesses where you get to know the clients for a long time and you build a relationship with them.
That's interesting. So that came after the massage and facial?
Well, that's what it is, Hand and Stone.
Yeah.
So I had done membership businesses before, but they were more B2B. And now now I'm doing it with my brother, which is pretty cool too. So I'm doing these businesses mostly with my brother, and that's been fun too. Just getting to we were always really good brothers, and now the relationship is just taking it up a notch because we're in business together.
Well, that's interesting in and of itself.
Yeah.
Right. So what did you start out doing? Like you went to college to do what?
I started off as an industrial engineer. At the time, I called it an imaginary engineer because it was you had to take the physics and you had to take electrical engineering, but it was kind of a quasi business major at the time. So I did that. I worked for a few years doing software consulting. Then I went back to business school, and that's when I did some of these venture-backed companies where I would be in marketing and sales or running marketing or running sales. And then about 2010, I had a little consulting business, and my brother was a partner at Accenture. He had left Accenture, and he was looking to buy a business. And I was helping him, and we're like, hey, why don't we buy a business together? So we hired a small investment bank, and we couldn't find anything. Either the valuations were too high or the turnarounds seemed too hard. And then we came across the massage and facial spa category. And then we found Hand and Stone. We just absolutely fell in love with the founder and the CEO and the brand. And then they were like 40 open at the time. And we said, we're going to open 10. The CEO thought we were crazy, and we did it. We opened all 10 basically on schedule.
It's great.
All around New Jersey or all over the place?
They're all in central and northern New Jersey, yeah.
It's a very popular brand. We have lots of them around. And I've been to them, and they're nice.
Yeah, the original one was in Toms River. It's basically a South Jersey, Philly kind of brand. That's where it was founded, and we were big in bringing it to northern New Jersey. There were about 40 open at the time. Now I think there's 500-600 open, and it's a nationwide brand. And we really enjoyed the experience, so much so that we were looking for another early stage brand. Because when you're buying into a franchise, you can get in later. Let's say there's 200 open or 300 open and everything is nailed down and you're just another franchisee, and you can do that, and that's great for a lot of people. But for Ken and I, we like getting in early, getting to know the founders, getting to know the CEO, and trying to help make it a nationwide brand. So we're doing that again with this time it's out of northern New Jersey. The company's called Moxie Salon, and it's a beauty bar from blowouts all the way up to glazes and hair extensions and everything in between. And again, it's a membership business.
Great.
Can I come in for a hair extension, Jeff?
Yeah, you look great. Can't wait.
Your daughters must love that.
My family loves the businesses I'm in. I joke with my wife a lot because we looked at check cashing, we looked at all these other businesses, And she's like, I keep picking businesses that work well. I mean, she's a big fan of Hand and Stone, longtime member, gets massages and get facials, and now she's a regular at Moxie. So and the Moxie that we own one so far, and the one is just down the street. So she's happy about that.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
great. So when you were doing venture-backed investing before, had you done any franchising, or this, when you started, that was new to you?
Actually, franchising was new to me. So it works out well because I like getting in kind of early, but I don't like being the, I guess, first. So this kind of works well with the way my head works and the way I think about things.
Mhm.
Is getting in pretty early and figuring out how to scale it, but not doing it from, I guess, day one. I'm kind of like day two, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, how did you fare during the pandemic? People were not getting massages or facials.
Yeah, we were shut down for a little while. The neat thing is we have a membership business, and the customers really trusted us. And the unlike a gym where if you don't use it, you lose it. So their membership rolls over. So unlike a Netflix account, like if you don't watch the movies, that's it. With us, so any money you're paying into the membership basically accumulates. And so majority of our members let it kept rolling for the few months while we were shut down. And then when we came back, they already had multiple packages that they could use.
That's great.
That's great.
Very nice.
Jeff, just a crazy question. Have you ever heard of Stretch Zone?
I haven't, but I can guess from the name that they do stretching.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's I don't know if it's a hot new thing or new trend, and I'm sure that different gym concepts can come and go. But for this anti-exercise guy who never takes care of himself and who's lazy, I love Stretch Zone. I go when I'm in town 2-3 times a week, half an hour. I don't have to think. They just do it for me, and it's not. And I sleep when I'm done. And it's amazing to watch this one little location in our suburban area that is absolutely like you can't get in. And they opened like 2-3 months ago.
That's great. It sounds like it could be a good concept that they could scale for sure. There is a definite need for that kind of thing, either stretching and massage, where you come and basically you're pampered, right? Because you're used to, it's stressful. 2023 is stressful. So it's good to have that half-hour downtime, an hour downtime where somebody's taking care of you and you don't have to do anything about it, right? You just get to just sit there. I started meditating a few years ago, and that's been really beneficial for me as well. I don't know if either one of you meditate, but that's been huge for me as well.
My brother's a huge fan of it, has been trying to tell me to do it. I just can't imagine being still that long.
I do 10 minutes a day, so it's nothing crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Just, yeah, it's been
I
helpful.
understand. It's wonderful. That's true.
Yeah.
So you could start a meditation training franchise or something.
Well,
like
they
that.
have a bunch of apps. It's a well-covered space. So,
Okay.
and the ones out there, they do a good job. So I'm a customer though for about 3 years now. I've been doing it.
Just last night, my husband and I were having a conversation about a friend of ours who owns a franchise, and we were discussing his biggest problem. He's expected to open a certain amount of franchises within a certain period of time, and the two 4-letter words my husband tells him is rent and help. How are you finding the getting and keeping good help in these relationship type businesses now, when finding help is difficult?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that, Lynn. So when I first got into the business, I thought it was going to be all about the clients, and it is about the clients. But over time, I realized it's all about the staff and the relationships we form with the staff and the impact we make on each other's lives. And my favorite quote is Maya Angelou quote, which is, "We'll forget what somebody, how they made us, what they did, we'll forget what they said, but we won't forget the way we made them feel," right?
Exactly.
So
Yes, I've heard that.
Yeah, it's a great quote, and I think about it in everything I do now. So for me, it's the long-term relationships with everybody I'm working with obviously with my brother Ken, but also with the managers and directors that work with us. We the people running all of our spas, nobody's left since 2017, so that's 6-7 years. So we
Impressive.
invest in them, they invest in us. I want them to have a better life, they want me to have a better life. We're all working together to have each other, what can we do to make each other's lives better, just the way we think about things, the way we move, the way we act. And then that translates into them working on how can they make the lives better of their staff, not just economically, but from the way they think about things. Because if we can impact the way they think about things at work, they then think about things and move and act differently with their personal lives, with their family. So you end up, what I call, you make a little ding in the neighborhood. We can make a little difference. I think Steve Jobs said he made a ding in the universe. We're trying to make a little ding in the neighborhood.
Yeah. No, and
I think there's something to be
people,
said for these. We're a little bit like that at multi-funding. So what I always say when we're talking to people about joining is you're either going to last a month or you're never going to leave. And it's generally, with one or two exceptions, it's generally been really true. Maybe not 1 month, like 90 days, or you're never going to leave. And I think that's because we try to do many similar things to what you're talking about, Jeff. We just worry about each other, and we take care of each other. And I think there's a lot to be said for it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're just human beings, all of us. We're just
Right.
doing the best we can. And the human beings we're hanging out with, I want them to have a better life, and they want me to they want me to have a better life. I just listened to the Chick-fil-A head of marketing wrote a book. It came out a few years ago, and he talked about the founder of Chick-fil-A and about when he got interviewed for the job in like 1980. They were interviewing him like he was going to be there 30 years. They were at many, many interviews. And the idea was, are you going to be with me for 30 years? I want that kind of relationship with you. And it ended up being, he was there for 35 years. And that stuck with him, that kind of thinking.
it's interesting because sometimes, in the jobs where the employees are making just above minimum wage or whatever, it's difficult. But in these relationship businesses, if you hire people who are passionate and they start building relationships, it's a good way to ensure that they'll be there. And if they have a relationship with other people on the staff, that's another way to ensure it as well.
Yeah, for
What
sure.
do you guys manage? Do you have a central office, Jeff, and then satellite locations, or what do you do?
We don't. We have a small corporate team. We all work out of our house. And then we have the 10 spas. I own 10 spas. We have one salon that we just opened last year. And then we're area representative for Moxie, where we're looking for more Moxies, but there's no central office.
Got it.
When you say you're the area representative, does that mean you will open the spas the salons, or you will find franchise?
So it's a little different. So we're finding other people that want to own a business, that want to own a Moxie salon. So it's fun for us. I like to do things that I haven't done exactly before. For me, it's not about the destination. For me, it's about the journey, and then who am I doing the journey with? So the short answer is we're looking for other franchisees to open up Moxies. And the idea is we're trying to make it not only a New Jersey brand, but a nationwide brand.
Cool. So how are you going about that, Jeff?
Well, a lot of it early is just through word of mouth. That's what we've been doing, where a lot of the early franchisees are people that are Moxie customers that go in and they see how it's made a difference in their life, and then they want to make a difference in other people's lives.
Is Moxie a salon in and of itself, or is it the concept where there's all different operators owning their own space within the salon?
It's the first one.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's a standalone, let's say 1,500 square feet with a great vibe. And the founders are amazing, Jen and Jamie. Those are the founders. I get drawn to working with other people that I think are amazing. And I think I thought the founder of Hand and Stone, his name is John Marco, was amazing. And then I found Ken and I were looking for, again, we were looking for just amazing people to work with. And we found them we looked at a whole bunch of concepts for years. And then we came across Moxie as the second one, where we're trying to help them make it a nationwide thing.
Great.
Awesome. How have you financed over the years, Jeff? Have you self-financed, investors, debt? What have you done?
It's been a combination of debt. So in the beginning, I had to refinance the home, did the HELOC, also had loans, business loans, and put in our own cash, sold some stock and put in our own cash.
So you have never taken an equity investor in your expansion?
We thought about taking, we had an equity investor. We thought about it long and hard. And then we decided that we were going to go the cash and debt and self-funding route.
So good
And
for
keep
you.
the management to yourself.
Well, then because then you have to answer to somebody else and
Absolutely.
you want to invest, and maybe it takes a few extra years before you're taking cash out of the business, and that's not what the investors want. So then you have to answer to them. So we wanted to do the right thing and not be beholden to, for us, that's not what we wanted to do.
Right.
But we did think long and hard.
You see this as a family business one day that your kids will take over, or your brother's kids will take over?
Nobody's involved from the family right now, so I guess it's possible, but that's not why we did it. But you never know what will happen. My brother has two kids that are older. They're in their 20s. And then I have two, the oldest is 20. So could be, but right now that's doesn't look that way, but you never know.
Not the direction they're going at the moment.
You never know, right?
Yeah.
By the way, I have a cousin who's a freshman at American University. Maybe we could be matchmakers.
That's right. Yeah. Perfect.
I'm sure they would just love that. Okay.
Yeah, that's what kids love the most, when parents get in the way, right?
Uh-huh.
No, it's
Jeff,
not.
as you think about the future, what do you have in mind?
Well, the next thing for the next few years is, so I'm trying to get through the same thing you are. I guess you have 2 years as president of EO. I just have 1 year. So I'm trying to get the next year done of leaving EO in as good a place or a better place than when I started for EO New Jersey.
Are you having fun yet?
I am. It's great. We had our all member meeting there actually 2 days ago. It was a lot of fun. And my theme this year is peer-to-peer experiences. And so it's just getting the whole EO New Jersey community to attend events and to hang out with each other. Kind of what we were alluding to before. I mean, business owners hanging out with other business owners, we can have such a dramatic impact. I know you feel the same way, Ami, on our personal life, our business life, our family life. And I know when I first joined, I didn't think that way. And then it suddenly clicked. The more I'm hanging out with these kind of people, I start moving and thinking differently. And I'm helping them move and think differently as well.
So you're putting up with Cedral as your learning chair, huh?
Yeah. She's killing it. She's killing it. We had Kevin Harrington 2 nights ago. He's one of the founders of EO, which I don't know. He's told us that little story of how Vern asked him to help launch the organization. And then we had 2 speakers that were from our chapter that spoke, that had great personal journeys, but they had never shared it in New Jersey, and they did that as well. So it was a nice little EO NJ evening. You're enjoying it too, Ami, I guess?
Tell us about how EO has impacted your journey.
So it's been a huge impact on me. So when I first joined EO, it was all for me going to be about learning how to run my business better, and I was going to be a taker. What are you doing, Ami? What are you doing to run your business better? Let me take notes. And then at some point along the way, as I started hanging out with everybody, I noticed it's not about that. It's about giving. It's about what can I do to help the other person have a better life? What experience do I have that can be helpful to the other person? And the more I gave, the more I realized that I started moving and thinking differently. So it's been a huge transformation for me. I think I've learned and grown a lot, and so it's completely transformed the way I think about things. Yeah.
Love it. The more you give, the more you get.
Yeah, it's weird. You don't think it's counterintuitive until you start doing it and you realize, and then you just, and I was listening to somebody else was saying it's just the Henry Ford quote, if you think you can, you think you can't. I mean, everything comes down to mindset. If being grateful versus not being grateful, right? It's just the way we look about things, the way we think about things just has a huge impact on our lives. And
Yeah.
I didn't think about that for a long time in my life.
Absolutely.
I think it's fascinating as we do these podcasts, and all the people, a lot of them are EO members, present, former, past, or whatever. And there is an amazing, I don't know how to explain it, but there's an electricity when everyone talks about their EO experience that I'm not an entrepreneur. Well, I love entrepreneurs, but I myself am not one. But you can see that that's what everybody says. So it must be true. And we've spoken to former leaders and their experience, and how, meeting members, not just in their own chapter, but across the country and even across the world. And so meeting the person who started all this must be, I would love to listen to that story. I think can you
I love
imagine how he
stories.
must feel with what's become of this? It's unbelievable.
It's amazing. Ami, I want to ask Ami. So if you would have asked me in 2015, which is when I joined, that I would be president of EO New Jersey, I would have looked at you with four heads, crazy, nothing further from the truth. And here I am. I volunteered to do it, and I'm really enjoying the experience. For you, Ami, did you think was this something in your DNA that you thought you would do?
Never in a million years. I didn't even think I had the time for it.
Right.
Not that I wouldn't have wanted to do it. I would have just never conceived of, I mean, I was so grinding in the business instead of on the business that I would never in a million of years have thought I would have ever had the time to take on any leadership role. And 2 weeks after I joined, I was learning share with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's really quite fascinating to me how it just broadened my mind to thinking about so much more so much more was possible than I was already doing. So
the energy
Lynn,
around all of you is contagious.
Yeah. So Lynn, what's your take on all this? You're saying just it's the energy and the way it's just.
Yeah, I mean, there are some themes that I've, picked up through it all, but everyone talks about how it has positively affected them, and that they never expected to be elevated in the organization, that they came in to take, and they ended up giving, and in the giving they've gotten back, which, it's almost like everybody, it's better to give than to receive, and you know what, it's true. And then when you find that, how it relates to businesses, and even though so many of you are in way different types of businesses, the themes of, as Ami was saying, of working on your business instead of in your business, and how people make that step and take that step to work on it instead of in it. And you've learned all of that from each other, not because you do the same things, but because of relationships and people, and sharing all of that with each other is universal, and it's global. It's not just national, and it's all about relationships. It always comes down to that in the end, but the way that it seems to work through EO it's impressive.
It's who you hang out with. At the end of the day, if you want to change your life, just change who you hang out with, right?
That's
Lynn,
true.
does the EO culture kind of describe your old culture when you used to work at big banks?
Oh, yeah, right. No, and it's just interesting. Throughout the years, I could pop in and see Ami's office, and they're sitting on the couch and they're brainstorming in this, and it's like you go in there and you felt like the tension leave your body, and it was always like, oh yeah, this is great. And I always wanted to just be able to do that. Now I can, so it's fun.
All right,
It's
well,
great.
we're
It's great
fortunate
to
that
be
you
on the
picked
other
up
side
at
of
Ami.
that corporate world.
Yeah.
Jeff, your story is fascinating.
It's great.
If there's anything we can ever do to help you with anything, you let us know.
You want people I want people in my business. I call it thinking in the shower. You want people who really believe in what you're doing. You don't want people working with you who don't believe in it. Go find something else that you do believe in and spend time on that. Right.
Yeah, I mean, for me, just working with entrepreneurs my entire career, even though it was in the corporate, I developed a passion for entrepreneurs and helping them and seeing them succeed, and just hearing their stories is great. So to be able to continue to do that and just from a different perspective now, it's wonderful.
Yeah, I can see the passion in your voice. You get to do a really neat thing, Lynn.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
she has to put up with me though, Jeff. So that's kind of hard.
Yeah, we all do. Well, and we all have the things we have to bear to get what we really want to do.
Yeah, yeah. It's not that
All
bad.
right,
So
all right,
it's great
guys.
to meet you. How do people find you?
JeffSilbert@gmail.com.
There we go. All right. If anyone wants to get a hold of Jeff, also let us know. We'll get you in touch with Jeff. So,
all right. Thanks for having me, guys. I enjoyed it.
It was great.
Thanks so much. Enjoy your parents' weekend, buddy.